themselves out. And this time, we're going to jump into it once again as Crown figures out his headset.
Get your headset on, Crown. It's gameplay time as Gen G are on the blue side. They have chosen blue for game number 5, so don't adjust your monitors. 5 games of blue side only from Gen G and 5 games of red side. Will SKT put Faker on a 5th pick, counter pick? We can think of so many over the years. They've been reticent to do it reliably. But the Vel'Koz didn't work out so well in game number 4, so a more proactive pick might be the tonic for game number 5.
If I'm Gen G, just ban away the Olaf again. I mean, do you think maybe they go ahead and ban Ryze instead of the Taliyah, and that leaves a decent pick open for Haru, a very high tier pick in the jungle at least? Or they just ban it again.
And yeah, you'd have to think Gragas also will be considered as the first pick here, because flex pick into 3 different roles. QV play at the top, Haru can play at jungle, but he's not quite ambition when it comes to the Gragas players, and Core JJ could definitely be playing it in support, even though it isn't something we typically expect from Core JJ. He's much more of a Tahm Kench. Gotta say, the Tahm Kench being rolled back for SKT isn't the most confident, but it is Tahm Kench Ashe, which we know can take over games pretty reliably.
Yeah, this time they wait. They say, oh, we don't have to pick the Ornn this early. We don't have to hide our Kindred. I would expect them to reconsider their Kindred pick. Maybe something like a Sejuani or a Trundle, right? A Sejuani struggled, but that was up against a Trundle. As Trundle, second most played, has a winning rate on that one as well. He's 5-4 on the pick, something you could consider. Of course, QV did play the Gragas the last time around, but it wouldn't be the worst, blind pick into the jungle in that sense.
Do notice that with Alistar open, because Ashe is locked in, they don't want to opt in to say Alistar Varus here. They do go to the Braum Varus. Alistar misses,
here we go.
And the Akali's locked in. All right, now suddenly Lissandra can be banned in this round by SKT. Otherwise, I think that will be the Crown answer.
Galio Lissandra.
The Galio's the first. The Swain is another matchup. Grass Swain can get through the lane as well. But this is 8-15 unnerfed Akali. People have been screaming for it. We're getting it.
Man, she does so much damage. It's ridiculous. You were talking about how she can pretty much 100 to 0 anybody if you are in the lane. There are a couple of counters that you did mention before, but Faker, he's shown so many times he can play it in solo queue. No doubt they've practiced it for this patch specifically. I love the pick here.
And counter is a strong word. Can be competitive, yes, but counter is a different thing. You gotta think that Lissandra's the one that sticks out. Again, we saw it from Nuke Duck over in the EU LCS final. It's been practiced by Crown, both in the past and in solo queue. Sandra would make sense. Not the highest damage champion, but will definitely be a concern or a consideration from the side of Gen G. Second ban, probably towards the jungle pool here. Will that Sejuani or Trundle be looked at, or will they go somewhere else? It's gonna be the Sejuani.
Sejuani was the most played from Blank. He's actually 8-3 on the pick. And now thinking about a blind pick top lane, something that could also do well into the Gragas.
And a takeaway from QV, if he was going to be jumping onto a blind pick, it would have been the Gnar. So no Ornn. First game, 5 games,
wow.
4 games of Ornn, and he's going somewhere different. You say, wow, but it's a big change in terms of what a pick brings. It's a little bit less mindless. If I get through the lane, I can throw my ultimate. You have to be a bit more conditional around this. You need better communication around the Mega Gnar, and that's not something that Untara has been perfect on this series. GP going to be taken into the Gnar, and there's the Lissandra.
Lissandra makes sense. And, it's interesting. They wanted to get that final pick for Blank here. They wanted to know who is going into the jungle. They kind of secure the idea of, yes, Trundle is going up against the Gragas. This is what I would expect from Blank. I like the idea, especially after the Sejuani ban, another one of his big picks. Unless he decides to change it up towards the end. It looks like this is what we're going to have here for the pick ban. There it is, locked in. And a very cool ending to this best of 5 to see who makes it up against Griffin on Friday.
And we 1-3-1, boys, and you got to love SKT in terms of what they have in the 1-3-1. They've got a lot going on here. Ashe Tahm Kench. There's no Kai'Sa to match it on the side of Gen G when it comes to 80 carries that can rotate. While the GP can take over Gnar, can he find a build that deals with both? I think you have to throw in something like Steric's Gauge to have a hope of getting through the Akali. I don't think just a Hex Drinker will be enough. Lissandra can definitely run out of damage when we're so assertive on picks, and the pick comp in the mid game can be powerful from Gen G. Will Faker drop Ignite? Because many laners, Caps for example, took Ignite in the Lissandra matchup because everyone knows how much damage level 6 Ignite Akali does, but you drop out on that, the full health burst goes away. We'll see in-game if there's any adjustments. For now, it seems to be the cleanse. We'll talk more about the matchup as to why Crown went there over, say, a Malzahar. That also was going to be a possibility. It's locked in that the Akali is there. It does not go a full series without seeing play. First Korean Akali at the highest level.
Definitely the dream for SKT and especially Faker fans. They wanted to see him play Akali. This is the first time that Akali is actually available here in Korea, and well, Faker's gonna give us that time here in game number 5. The Gnar into GP, Kyuve's GP, also quite nice. We'll see how he can do on that pick and how Haru does on a new jungler. No more Camille, it's gonna be that Gragas for some extra picks. So many things available on the side of Gen G and going for those picks, and Faker, we'll see if he can get the picks himself onto champions like Ruler, because everybody else going to be looking pretty nice, besides that Braum and beside the Lissandra. But either way, guys, the countdown has started. Game number 5, Gen G up against SK Telecom T1. Who's moving to Friday? Let's find out.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
I just figured I'd let that one go through. I didn't want to interrupt that one. It's Lissandra, guys, everybody's favorite laugher.
Sometimes if you don't laugh, you cry, Valdez, and it's the high-pressure situation. This scenario, Game 5 between double world finalists, Gen G and SK Telecom, because SKT have the 3 in a row, but we saw this exact matchup 2 times in a row. One to the side of SK Telecom, the second one over to the side of Gen G. Waiting for this game to get kickoff here. Gen G going for the late invade. They want to contest this vision around the Rift Scuttle. They force out Tahm Kench and the Ashe for now, but they know that both sides have vision at this point.
Nice little start. I'm going to be interested to see how Blank does on the Trundle, if he can. You know, we saw games 1 and games 2, and we were thinking, uh-oh, is this Blank in that not-so-great form? Is he back here? Is he going to be part of the reason why SKT don't make it? Looked a lot better on the Kindred, though. And now we have a new champion for him in the jungle. Has to prove himself. And how about coming up to the top side is going to reveal himself, but still in position for the gank. Not going to go for it as he sees the positioning of Kyuve.
Kyuve showed the vision there. Blank's coming up. He wants to try and find a way to steal away this blue buff. Haru has Smite. Let's watch this. Easy to burst for Blank. Let's watch it. Oh!
Ooh, nice one there. Gets the electrocute too onto Blank. Rotation from Crown, and actually GP gonna come in here first. Pillar on top of Blank, and can he get out of this one? He's not even attacking, he just wants to run away.
Oh.
There it is, the flash dot, and it's gonna be first blood to the side of the GP. The worst start you could have for SKT.
I think there was a bit of a surprise there, Blank not expecting the electrocute proc. Remember, it's not Predator Gragas, actually ended up being an electrocute Gragas. That extra bit of damage, every little bit added up. You expect the Lissandra to be better to rotate at this early in the game compared to the Akali. That's a big lead, and now Kyuve. Oh, it's a disaster for Gnar. Now, the Resolve Tree GP shoots, gets a grass proc, gets the red buff proc, and has the health regen to just have the time of his life in the early game.
Let's see if SKT can convert onto this. Has Haru gone too aggressive? The answer is going to be no, as he gets out of there just fine with the body slam. And look at that even, with the positioning of the Trundle and the movement to the bottom lane. Ruler and Core JJ move up and take a free Scuttle Crab.
Nice use of priority. Again, very similar between Ashe, Tahm Kench, and the Varus Braum in terms of lane. We're going to watch the replay. Watch what happens here. Usually Q auto Smite will win, but Haru gets the Smite. The electrocute proc comes in. We can count the health bars there, 350 health. Kyuve walks up. Blank has his summoner, but when do you flash is always a question. Apparently no question to Haru. He gets it in. They get the kill. Kyuve doesn't even flash. Too easy for Gen G.
I think if you get yourself into a position where you've kind of messed up your positioning that much, it's time to flash early. You know that Gragas has that ability to flash body slam. Haru does it, you know, easy to read, just like that. Was trying to save his flash, and then just got killed for it, got punished. So pretty unfortunate for him, not the start he was looking for. I was just talking about how I was looking forward to seeing how he did on the Trundle. We'll see how he does later.
And I believe that's 4 out of 5 games where Blank's given first blood in this series. The only game where SKT picked up first blood was, I believe, game 4. So not been ideal by any means. When we get back to the mid lane, I'll talk a bit about the matchup. So you might wonder, why Lissandra into Akali? It's not just, ooh, my ultimate can lock her down and I do burst damage. It's that many, many champions are completely screwed over by the Shroud, the W and its ability to cloak her and set up good trades for the Akali. Akali may not be clickable, targetable during that, but she does get hit by AoE, and every ability, if you include the self-cast ultimate, is AoE on the side of Lissandra. Her Q has very short cooldown when it comes to harassment, especially by level 9. So you just get so much incremental harassing. You've got great gank assist with your W and your R. It is a very comfortable matchup into that Akali, and you can see Faker showing plenty of respect. He has the cleanse, he doesn't have the ignite, and for now, just a small CS lead for Crown, but by the time the lane comes in, it's 50-50.
Oh, they're looking for a pick on a Blank. He doesn't have his flash now, and oh boy, he is so dead. The Chilling Smite comes in and just secures it there for Haru. Really good read with the ward, and Crown making that Lissandra work.
And every time they're just clocking that gun and shooting bang and getting the kill, it's so assertive by the side of Gen G. It's really good to see them pull that off. Haru comes in, he's not missing a beat. And now Gen G continue to have power through the mid lane. Faker will be pushed up, and really it's only until items come in that we expect the tide of this lane to change. We can also see some counter jungling being done as well. It's all a pressure game, and they're going to have to make the 1-3-1 pay it off, because for now, Faker can offer so little for his jungle or for his team.
Just desperately trying to survive at this point in that lane, taking so much harass damage from the Lissandra. And now with no jungler presence at all, just chilling down there. The bottom lane even, the Braum-Varus combination has gotten way far ahead of the Ashe and Tom Kench lane. We didn't get too many looks here as we were paying attention to mid and jungle, but looks like so far Ruler and CoreJJ have been doing a good job of winning this lane too.
And with Cuvée getting that red buff, suddenly top lane was basically a 1 lane for the GP. This can always happen if you get an early gank or a red buff coming through. The kill making him very happy. The Lissandra has control on the Akali until she really doesn't, and that's either based on ganks or item timing. So for now, it's happy. Varus will also always be able to win the Ashe lane early, even though both of them tend towards a utility as the game goes on. The Gen G's draft certainly looking comfortable. A Kindle Gem thrown on for the Proto Belt on the side of Crown. And really already SKT are looking forward to a potential 1-3-1. Looking forward to Akali having kill pressure on either the Lissandra or the GP. And with no ignite, I wonder if that will come if they continue to fall behind in little spurts when it comes to the CS in some of the lanes. Although that's a nice trade for Faker.
Good trade for him, throws down the Shroud, says, haha, you can't see me. Lissandra, Crown not just gonna throw around himself. How about this for a pick? Looking for CoreJJ, good pillar, but at the end of the day, they're just gonna get that control ward.
Bit of visual lag, but that one was short, guys. That's the ones we've been dealing with for a while, so don't worry about that one. We'll continue going on with the game. No remake needed just yet. GP confidently farming. Everyone would love an Infernal Drake. Massive damage coming out on both sides, but for now, no serious visits are possible.
Cuvée having a ball of a time in the top lane, is ahead in CS, is just chilling.
Not often are you 700 gold ahead when you have no Kleptomancy, but yeah. He's just partying in the top lane. Seeing the Blast Plant over. It's very conditional gank here, but they would love to kill CoreJJ, but didn't use any summoners, and that makes him really elusive to try to take down.
It's really trying to make something of not much, as even you can see Gen G's bottom lane know something is up. Perhaps it was the positioning of Bang a little bit far forward, or just knowing that, hey, he's not on our other wards. Still there in the bush. Looks like he's going to try to go for a recall. And back he does go.
Again, Akali potentially can take over a game. Even though Akali's changed in many ways with her rework, I think we all remember the Akali conundrum of, well, her lane doesn't go very well. Uh-oh, she got a triple kill and a gunblade. It's all over. It's not quite as rife as that, and yet when it comes to purely can you kill in the 1-3-1, she's a pretty potent killer who's very hard to slip away from, especially when Faker is piloting her. Plenty of games you could have observed on his stream and solo queue over the months that Akali's been enabled but not available into competitive play. So that's the game state already SKT have to look forward to. However, a 2,000 gold disadvantage at 9 minutes, and also just the ease of access to teleport Lissandra to start things. Definitely the pick power for Gen G can be wielded before the Akali is truly online.
Faker even forced to back on a non-cannon wave, misses a couple CS, goes back, picks up some magic resist. Still struggling to hang on there, as are the rest of SKT. They're already down 2,000 gold here before 10 minutes.
And remember that after the first blood, Untara is not on Ornn. And while that is obvious, what it means is you cannot just throw an ult and be fine as the game goes on. You need to be playing around timings. We've already seen him, unfortunately, have some struggles when it comes to some of the shot calling decisions. Remember his turret dive when Faker was trying to disengage in the mid lane. Need to be in the Mega now at the right point. And if these trades keep being so one-sided, gotta worry about maybe just straight up dying to Juve as well.
A Gangplank from ahead is just forever sustain in the top lane. He just shoots you in the face a billion times and you feel kind of useless as the enemy laner.
And every lane has that champion that even if you just have solo queue experience, you have that sinking feeling. GP, when he gets a couple kills early, you're like, uh-oh. If you're the enemy top lane, you're like, there's nothing I can do, and he's going to impact the map first. In the jungle, something like a Graves or Lee Sin runs over you. Kha'Zix back in the day as well. So many champions that can just run away with the game, and while we're not at that stage just yet, definitely an early Trinity Force timing, and how about an Infernal Drake to just make it even better?
Yeah, Gen G, there were a couple of games where they did not look fantastic, and SKT looked really, really good. Outside of those other games, they were dominating SKT. This game is no different. I like what Blank is doing, though, trying to go for a trade here for the Infernal. And maybe even a dive up into the top side. Okay, this is quite interesting. Down comes the Cannon Barrage and a TP. Flashes away. Do they have the damage? Faker is going to get in there and kill him. But can they get away is the question. Two members on the top side as its only Crown will look to get away. Blank awkwardly still doing this. Rift Herald alone. We'll see if Haru can come in here.
So you get a bit of vision, but this might be a one-way trip. I think he'd be smart to move away.
All right,
Bang's
nice.
even here.
Okay, so SKT, they get the kill. Nobody else dies. They get the Rift Heralds. And all of a sudden, just like that, it looks like SKT do have a chance. Faker's even going in for this onto Haru. Has his Shroud still.
Yeah. Knows he can get this bit of a damage trade. Ruler wants to pick up first brick, and the bot side, the first turret blood should go that way. Let's see if the race is even attempted here. Crown can go. They've already got the first turret. Might as well give this one up. There's no way. Yep, Ever flashes in.
Oh boy, one more lick, that would do it. Gets the Devourer,
in the
it's too
belly.
late. Oh man, Crown staying way too long, and oh boy, looks like the caster curse is in full effect tonight. I start saying, hey Gen G, you're looking real good, and now look at what's happened.
Well, now the oh baby, you so fine is being said to SKT because they're pushing with the Rift Herald. They might get a second charge as well, they should. And we're supposed to just be a first turret blood as an answer to the nice Rift Herald play. I like the rotation from SKT. You gave the condition of, I don't know if they have enough damage with the dive. Oh, sweet summer child, let me tell you about Akali on patch 8.15. She doesn't need Ignite to get the kill. Juve tries to be elusive, but this is Akali through and through. She usually has to take the honest way and walk up, but she gets the Abyssal Voyage, they get the kill, and suddenly SKT, who've been on the back foot ever since that first blood, the pendulum's not all the way to them, but it certainly is much more towards the middle.
And Papa, what was that you were saying about a Gunblade on that old Akali, something like that? How about a 2-0 Faker Akali on the new Akali? With the Gunblade, it's really, really crazy, guys. We're about to see it in action.
Yeah, the lane assignment options definitely fall away now. There's not going to be a Sterix Gauge yet onto the Gangplank. Lissandra can, in a short lane, be fine, because she can always disengage. Here's an ult. I didn't want to.
That's all it was. You didn't even have to commentate that, Papa, but thank you for
I like
that.
to be judicious with my adjectives, and it didn't look like it was going to be a particularly game-breaking ultimate, so I just called it what it was, an ultimate.
Yeah, that was an ultimate. Bang, he's feeling game 3, I guess, where, you know, he was just expecting Ruler to run at him and feed him kills. Well, that's not the case, as somebody on Gen G told Ruler to stop feeding.
Well, you might have to say that about whoever's assigned to Faker's lane, because while the Trinity Force is lovely, it's only really Lissandra that can kind of lose the minimum. See many different builds in different lanes. We've seen Extra Akali come back in some matches. It was always a consideration on champions like Katarina and Akali for, you know, have a bit of mixed scaling and can also really benefit from that Hex Drink. QSS also pretty obvious choice against Lissandra Varus Braum. But Ruler clears in mid. If Lissandra can always be in the Akali lane, things are okay for Gen G, but you can see Faker sees his lane assignment and says, I'll keep swapping.
He's a ninja. You can't really detect where he's going to be at all points. He's going to be down in the bottom lane now. And they're just looking for some kind of pick. It looks like they want the catfish in the mid lane. The Grey Health comes in, but so much CC. They're able to take out the kill quite easily. And now Gen G looking for their piece of the pie.
Let me introduce you to a pick comp. Didn't even need Lissandra to get that one. Nice barrel onto Bang, does a bit of damage. Faker's around the corner, but we spotted whatever entrance he chooses. Effort could use the Abyss of Voyage to get back, but we're talking about another 15 seconds or so before he can impact. Can they get enough damage to kill this turret? Right now, looking like no.
Yeah, I like what Gen G did, just grouping up as a pick comp and grouping up as 5, more importantly. You have this much CC on the side of Gen G. Akali, if you can lock her down, that is one way to try to deal with her, especially before that Shroud gets put down.
But in a longer lane, you can't play the same short lane, mid lane, walk up and Q game as Lissandra, because there is still chase pressure in spite of the Glacial Path. We're going to watch the replay. Wondered about Haru's accuracy on the casks, since he's not quite ambition level of experience. There was just no time to press any buttons there. If you were the Tom Kench, straight up dead. But SKT, with the respawns, walk up again, trying to get information about this bottom red side jungle of Gen G.
Moving in as a squad, even Faker, Effort, and Bang, all 4 of them here. Crown's still waiting down on the bottom side. Not quite grouping up just yet, but oh man, they're all so close. Looking for the pick here onto Ruler. Down he might go. The Hextech Gunblade goes in. There's the Akali, and she is going to get her kill with a perfect execution. Effort looks like he should get away as well, but Faker can't quite meet the same effect. Here's Crown trying to get 1 kill. Isn't going to be able to ult anybody on the backside, but they do clean up on the back to Gen G.
Yeah, there was a nice cleanup there. Wondered why Ruler was all alone and he was taken down very easily, but because they went so deep, the cleanup is there. Crown, I guess he just kind of tried to get everything and ended up with only the one, because he didn't use his ultimate. Very weird. There was 2 people in range. One of them died. The other person was able to get away in time. Would love to cement this with this mid lane turret. Couple of bruisers going to start it, but the Lissandra Claw comes in to guarantee the mid lane turret goes down for Gen G.
And at the end of the day, just the 1 kill, but they also feed the streak over to Haru, who's going to get some extra items.
Braum was seen wave clearing, and Haru started to walk bot lane, so that's why they just dove in. But you're so far down, and notice what happens here. The Q in the Shroud does hit, predicts that one just fine, and then Haru says, got some AP on this Gragas, I'll be fine. It's level 11 off this. He's 2 levels above Bang, as that replay confirms. It's now going to get a bit smaller, but the extra camps and the successful ganks, and we're going Spirit style. We got Electrocute, but this time we're loading on the ability power, so it's not Predator, but it is AP Gragas from Haru. He always does it his way, and his way he's got the big AP and the big AD.
Yeah, you know, when I said he was going to get the shutdown, when he got the shutdown, the Faker, I thought he was going to buy some extra survivability, but how about a Nullifying Orb? Let's get some really good penetration going with the Sork boots as well. It's going to be pretty insane.
Yeah, Dirty Magic Pen there is feeling pretty good, because not much magic resist has yet been put together. Talked about how Crown's damage does fall away as the game goes on, as Lissandra more about the catch in the mid game. Seems like Gragas going to be accentuating that mid game until they find a way to make a no-go zone around an Akali lane. Faker's actually coming to join the team rather than split on the Akali.
He walked up, there wasn't too much vision, just that one control ward in that side brush. They haven't spotted that one yet, SKT, not able to clear that one. And so they have full vision on where Faker is. Not too confused about that. Able to back at the correct time, nobody gets caught. We'll return to this 1-3-1 that both teams are doing right now.
Do you notice that Juve is going for this new age build? I guess kind of a new old, a bit like the confusing LeBlanc situation where people have been skipping Sterix, sometimes straight up, sometimes until third item by going for something like a Youmuu's as the second. I could still pivot from here, but been higher damage GP builds, and he's not worrying too much about the lane with the Resolve trees. If he can build for teamfight and they can cement this mid-game Lissandra Gragas teamfight where they do really have some early spikes, then that might be the right way to go. Looking for the catch.
Well, he flashes away from one. I thought Lissandra perhaps could have forced that, but effort was there with the Devour. So they get the flash, that very important summoner out of Ashe. And that's just about it.
Not sure about the Tom positioning. He was like two flashes away, so he wasn't in Devour range when it comes to, on the screen, about 500 units. That's I don't really know what he was accomplishing there. If he was baiting, it certainly ended up being baiting himself. And being summoned down on Bang, another tool to play around if you're Genji, Juve, and Untara meet in the side lane. Untara's got a red buff, so at least he can be extra annoying in the 1v1.
It's definitely very important you see Juve playing it respectfully in this lane for now. And I thought the Gragas was going up to the top side, but now it actually looks like Effort is the one that's going to be caught out here. Nowhere for him to run. He has used his flash and his cleanse. Cass comes in, and actually, where's the follow-up damage? Finally comes in from the poke of the Varus and the Lissandra. So making it pretty close, but they do pick up the kill.
Going walkabout when you don't have any deep wards on the blue side is so perilous against Magic Pen Gragas and a Lissandra. It's catch for days and flash cleanse, and even more tools aren't going to be enough to deal with that level of CC. Untara refreshes his red buff. How does this 1v1 look?
Not so good for Untara, as the barrel is going to hit him in the face again.
Oh, he's
There's
going!
The flash. He wants the kill here. Can he actually get it? Untara is going to go down to the barrel.
That's dirty!
Faker comes out of the side lane here, though, on top of Crown. They want to get him. There's the flash, but he does have that blasting plan. Goes straight into Blank, but he's got Haru nearby, and that means that there's nowhere for Blank to go. 3 members of Genji on top of him. Going to give the kill even over to Ruler.
And Crown?
Ooh, close one there, but might just be content to take the Baron at this point, at least clear out the vision.
Gauntlet Juve, man, he's so dormant for so long. They finally get Untara out of his Orntara safe zone, and this GP is running all over him. Suddenly, everything's on fire for SKT. They need a miracle Baron steal, otherwise it's maybe a game-winning lead for Genji.
Well, let's see what Faker can do. Has the Shuriken on, the arrow does come in, and oh boy, he does get the smite down as Effort not able to quite steal that one away. Not sure about that play either, the Abyssal Voyage himself. Just a bit desperate.
Watch this play here. So Untara picks up the red in the same levels. You might think, okay, it's time to go. But Untara has 1.5 irons, Black Cleaver, and almost a Rage Blade. So it doesn't do that much in the 1-for-1. Juve puts over this, and he's not going to commit, but then the auto misses from Untara. Just an attack move there to try to get rid of the barrel. And if you hit all your barrels, into the death chamber you go. This is the follow from Faker on the top side. Crown gets the healing. Able to open up space twice, hits all of his abilities, and then Haru's there to rain on the parade.
Faker backed at the exact right time. He knew what was going to happen, and if he didn't back quite at that time, he may have gone down. The miss on the claw as well means that it's not interrupted.
That was, of course, red vision, not blue vision in that brush, so just guessing and not able to get the interrupt would have been another kill to eventually pad the stats, but they get the Baron with the extra time, so you'll take it if you're Genji. We talked about how both teams can play map utility and move around with these drafts. Genji are sticking the landing when they're strongest. Melanomicon is done for the Gragas. Everyone on their team does so much damage at 23 minutes. And sometimes you look at the Drake and say, what better time for another Infernal if you're a Genji fan?
It's just insult to injury at this point as, well, they're already at 8,000 gold ahead, and they're looking to bite off even more. 2 turrets now in danger, one on the bot side, one in mid. Alongside the Infernal, you already mentioned, Akali good at getting executes and good at assassinating people, but if everybody's got Azonias or tanky stats, extra levels, and you have no team to back you up, what exactly are you going to get? They're going to try to go onto Cuvée here, but a barrel to the face, even in the Shroud, it doesn't matter. Blank is just baited in as there's nowhere for him to go. One shot to the face nearly kills him. Roller is going to flash, and now he's dead. Down he goes to the barrel as Cuvée picks up another kill, and Gen G take out a very desperate SKT.
Just to do some bookkeeping, he just 1v2 there. The teleport was only for added effect. It's turned around. Akali used second dash away from a Gangplank who has no tankiness. This game is so far out of order for the side of SKT. With 24 minutes in, minute more of Baron, the base already in tatters for SKT.
A minute more of Baron. Didn't even realize that until you said it, but it's insane how much they got out of that Baron power play.
Oh, look at the GP items. It's just rude.
Might as well. I mean, he's going to begin one-shotting people now. Maybe they can get the Infernal.
Yep.
Is this the beginning of the comeback? I'm sure a lot of SKT people would love to hear me say that, but this is going to be a long, long road to get that comeback.
8% more of not much, still not much, and Gen G want to add some kills to this. Ghosting in his core JJ.
It's a good thing that even when Trundle is massively far behind, he still does have a pillar. So Blank a little bit useful in this game towards the mid-game.
SKT have really leveled up in this series. Over the 5 games, we've seen a much better SKT than the regular season of summer. But the problem is, Valdez, they had a lot of catch-up to do. Again, a 16-game spread between the seasons of Gen G and SKT. And while we've seen some of the old signs of SKT, we're seeing some of the more recent ones. Suddenly, they need some significant mistakes in the mid team and some super plays, especially from Faker.
Well, how about that AP Gragas barrel to the face? Now Faker can't make the super play for now. They don't even need Baron buff at this point. Gen G just so far ahead. 12,000 gold at this point and so much engaged. Nobody on the side of SKT would dare get near them at this point. Gonna try to stop them from taking an inhibitor, but it feels like the slow and painful death right now for SKT. Gen G, they looked a little bit shaky. There's that question. Faker trying to get on in there, has the cleanse, but is in the Shroud. Still going to go down to that AoE, the cast, just in case. Cannon Barrage here, insult to injury. They just want to take them all out, get as many kills as possible before they make it to Friday.
Wants the barrels.
Yeah, going to get super low here as the rest of SKT efforts somehow do survive, but there's minions on the Nexus, turrets right now. Even though that one super minion is bugging out, it does not matter. It looks like Gen G, on the backs of a 27-minute game, are going to be making it to the Friday matchup up against Griffin. It was close here in 5 games, but Gen G, they're able to pull it out.
And everyone at the Nexon Arena and you in the chat were there when the dream died for SK Telecom T1. The run that saw them hit 3 consecutive World Finals, win 2 out of 3, 2015, 2016, before falling to then Samsung Galaxy, now Gen G, does end today. The question finally has an answer. Can SKT still make Worlds? Sadly for you fans out there of SKT, the answer is no. That era is over, and the Korea curse when it comes to SKT making it to a domestic World Championship does extend from 2014 to 2018.
It's a rough job for the coach to come in and cheer them up when they know there's nothing else to play for. Untara, he gave us good games of Ornn. You know, he was definitely a bit more solid than Tal, I would say. Faker, he tried his heart out. He tried to carry them. Props to Crown and Haru, too, coming in for Gen G and saying, hey, we are the two guys that are gonna come in here and actually carry Gen G.
Seeing Edgar walk through the fans, I can see Kevin Chu and the other management here smiling in the front of the audience. Haru came in and, like you say, was clutch, so was Crown. 3-1 out of his 4 games. Did not play game number 1. There's the mouse that Crown's looking at. Suddenly, maybe we will see Crown back at Worlds. Gen G have won back-to-back regional qualifiers, and while there is so much more League of Legends to be played, if they had to make it again, if they beat Griffin, if they can find a way past Griffin, they will feel so confident against Kingzone Dragon X in spite of whatever history.
Yeah, I mean, it does have to be said, Griffin, We saw them just the last weekend up against KT. They look like heads above both of these teams right now, but they suffered a huge blow up against KT. Their confidence, is it crushed? And can Gen G level up enough to get to the point and use that regional qualifier buff to actually take them out? At least they didn't go down to SKT, and they've offered themselves a chance.
At the end of the day, we got to see SKT's level today, and it was way higher than the 7th we saw in the regular season. We're looking at a team that definitely could have played in that wildcard match. You know, you put them around 5th or 4th, but you just don't put them at 3, and 3 is where you need to be to make it to the World Championships. They're not there with this roster. This roster will go down. Compared to the others, is a failure, Valdez. SKT target Worlds every time. World Finals even, World Champions. They don't get there. Really good game by Cuvée. Again, no MVPs for the postseason, but he was a monster and then some. SKT do fall in the first round of the gauntlet. We were, of course, seeing the shots of their booth earlier. The players trying to hold it together, and Tara fighting back tears. It is a struggle. Every player lives to make it to the World Championships, and SKT, they came within 3 best-of-5s, but they couldn't run the gauntlet.
Well, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. We'll see how their lineup changes, right? Is it really the Korea curse? Will they be ready for 2019 Worlds or 2019 LCK? Is it going to be a different SKT that can actually challenge the top 4, the Elite 4 that we saw here in Korea? That's the real question. But guys, we're going to go to an interview. I'm going to throw it to Ji-sun.
Thank you guys. This is Jason with their interview translation. It was the first day of LCK Regional Qualifier Tournament, and Gen G picked up victory against SK Telecom. So now here we are joined by Crown and Ruler from Gen G Esports. It was a very close and tough matchup. Well, SK Telecom and Gen G were the finalists of last year's World Championship, but today you guys were fighting for the last ticket for the World. How do you guys feel? I'm really happy. Yeah, I'm just happy. To say it concise, I'm really happy. Crown, it has been a while. And you've shown some of the super plays today. You must be super happy. How was today's game? It has been a while, but today I wasn't really nervous at all. There wasn't much pressure for me. Well, if I lose, I will be losing it. Well, I will have some of the rest, so I wasn't really nervous. I was feeling really comfortable before going into games. What about you, Ruler? It was a very hard match for us. And that's why it means so much for us. Well, a lot of fans were actually worried for Gen G. Well, I knew that I was kind of letting my fans down, so I wanted to show better performance. But today's performance was not that clean, but I'm really happy we picked up victory. I think all the fans are satisfied with your play today. I think we have to have some more talk with Crown. Well, game 4, I think Gen G was a bit behind. But your rise managed to scale by yourself at sidelines and was able to turn the game around. Well, I was caught out during the games. Even though all the other players were doing so well, the 4 other players, so SKT wasn't able to kind of snowball from there. So I think we were able to close out the gap, and I was able to keep pushing the side lane. So I thought that we were able to win the game in the end. Yeah, I think the macro on game 4 was really the thing for Gen G. Yeah, the side lane macro is so important for us, but at the same time, the 4 players on the mid lane is so important. I think they were doing their role so well. I think all the other 4 players was actually the MVP of game 4. And Ruler must be one of them, right? Well, we also did get cut out for some times, but we didn't lose any objectives or towers or turrets, so we thought that we were not very that behind. And in the late game, we knew that we were stronger.
그 상성에서는 좀 유리하다는 그런
So
게
I guess you
있었나요?
guys got the better team comp, right? Well, I got Ashe and Bang played Azrael, so in the late game, Ashe is much stronger.
자신감이 좀 있는 상태에서 또 운영으로 굉장히 잘 풀어 나가셨던
I guess you
것
guys were
같습니다.
quite confident with
열심히
your
사는데 지금
own
하고 계시는-
team comp.
네, 어떻게
And
되시죠,
just Kevin
관계가?
Chu
저희 큰형님입니다.
is our big brother.
아 너무나 기쁘실 것 같네요. 네네. 아 옆에도 또 대표님도 함께 나와 계시고 많은 분들이 또 응원을 해주고
So a lot of people are out here to support Genji.
접전이었는데
And it was a very close match, extended to 5 games. But it seems like you guys were trying to open Akali for SK Telecom
첫 번, 그러니까 4세트부터.
아, 네네네.
since game 4, right?
일단 이제 닫는 척하면서 5세트
We were kind of acting like we were not gonna ban it,
식으로 계산을 했었어요.
and we were trying to pick it on our side, but
이거는 각이다.
it didn't go as we planned. But
쓰게 된 거예요.
I think we were able to counterplay at game 5.
많이 해봤기 때문에 저도 많이 하고.
We have gone through a lot of games against Akali during the practice games, so we knew how to counterplay against her.
많이 좀 준비가 되어 있었던 네 그런
I guess
상황이었던
you
것
guys were
같습니다.
fully
이제
prepared
룰러
for today's
선수는
game.
아유,
And
또
Ruler.
인터뷰의 왕이신데
You are the king of the interview.
이야기를 좀 해야 될 것 같아요. 아무래도 이제 선발전의 제왕이라는 이름을 갖고
And,
있습니다.
you know,
젠지
Genji is
e스포츠가
always
늘
so
선발전에서 이제
strong
롤드컵
in the
진출을
qualifiers
확정
match.
짓는 아 젠지다
You
이런
guys
얘기가
never
있었는데
failed to make your way to the world. So how was today's match?
할수 있을 것 같으신가요?
일단 2대1로 지고 있을 때 되게
Well, when we were in a score of 2-1, I was really nervous. But it's really relieving that we pick up the victory in the end.
SKT만 이기면 갈 수 있을 것 같다고
And we thought like if we just pick a victory against SK Telecom, we will be able to make our way through the world. So I think we will probably reach the world.
복수의 칼날을 좀 갈고 왔다.
And your head coach before going into the game said he really wants to make a revenge on SK Telecom. I guess he would be super happy.
자,
I think
이제
so.
마지막 질문을 좀 해드려야 될 것 같아요.
And the last
또
question.
다음 선발전이 또 남아
Our next
있으니까
opponent,
빨리 보내드려야 될 것 같아요.
as you guys all know, is Griffin.
그리핀입니다. SK텔레콤 팀원만 이기면 뭐
Well, you guys said that SK Telecom would be the biggest challenge, but they also showed amazing performance recently.
아무래도 힘든
So
경기가
it
또 예상이
seems they will be also very strong. So is there any last
말씀
message going into next matchup?
일단 뭐 상대 팀이 지금 되게 잘하는 선수들이
We all know that Griffin, all the players are so strong. They're doing so well. But I can say they're a little bit exhausted. I think they have been practicing until now.
재밌게
So I'm gonna try to make sure to enjoy my upcoming matchup.
자, 룰러 선수.
And Roller, would you like to add on to that?
그리핀이랑 킹존 다 강한 팀인데 그런
Both
거
Griffin and
의식하지
Kingdom,
않고
they are
저희
so
플레이만
strong, but
잘하면은,
I just want to
더
focus
잘할 수
solely on
있다고
our
열심히
play.
할 테니까 많은 응원 부탁드립니다.
So I want all the fans to keep supporting for us. Thank you.
e스포츠 계속되는 관문 열심히 통과할
So
수
this
있도록
sums
많은
up
팬분들의
today's intense
응원 부탁드리도록
matchup
하겠습니다.
between
앞으로도 멋진 활약
Genji and
기대하겠습니다.
SK Telecom, and Genji will be heading up to the next round of World's Qualifier Series. So I will pass it back to the caster to wrap up today's game. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sun, as always, for the translation. It was a bit of a longer series. Went all the way down to Game 5. First 3 matches were short, as was the 5th one, but Genji end up the victors. The real question is now, can they go up against Griffin? I really want to see Griffin's performance and their form in Game 1 before I make that decision.
I think a lot about today and a lot about this particular gauntlet, even though there are those dominant names, is I'll believe it when I see it. Griffin were able to make that amazing run, but now coming off a heartbreaker of a loss in the final, you think about where they were at in the regular season, you say, yep, should be easy, but today was anything but easy for both of SK Telecom and Genji, and Genji really were only a nose ahead of SKT. It definitely wasn't a dominant series by them by any means.
And that's a good look for Griffin, right? They go into this next one saying, hey, I mean, Genji struggled with SKT, who were in 7th place. And SKT made a lot of mistakes, and still they were just barely able to defeat them. So Griffin, after just so close to winning the finals, they were actually ahead in a lot of those games, and a lot of people said they threw, Game 4, maybe even Game 5. They were so close. At the end of the day, yeah, all these players walking in front saying your point doesn't matter. So, no, I mean, Griffin's really good. I would expect, just based on skill alone, I would want them to go up against Kingzone, just in terms of which team I think should win it. But anything can happen now that they did get crushed by KT.
And you can't get too much into the micro of, all right, it was a 3-2 victory there for Griffin. Should easily smash them 3-0. Like, doesn't feel like the reality is ever quite the same there. It feels like it's probably going to be a hard-fought series as well. Tarzan now has to think about Haru and Ambition.
Yeah.
I think he was definitely going to have a whale of a time against Ambition because he's, very predictable. Today he tried to subvert his style, but largely predictable. Haru can play the Camille. He can do different stuff. Now you have to think about the Camille because whatever jungle pool you're used to, you throw in the Camille and the impossible becomes possible because she's so potent as early as level 2.
Yeah, I mean, they just have a lot of time to also think about how can we deal with that Camille. What picks are we going to bring in to deal with that one? And the Gragas, right, they're going to have an answer for the pick ban and say, we're going to ban this Gragas 100%, I would say, because not only is QV a god on it, Haru looked really clean on it as well. No doubt that Core JJ can play the pick. It's just one of those flex picks that is super strong in the meta, and you have more than 2 players that can play it to a high level. That's got to be permabanned in my mind.
So many what-ifs. So many things were confirmed today, but suspicions still arise. We still don't really know too much about the Akali, as in the end, Gen G just packed on the Lissandra that we kind of were prepping for, and it was very nicely done, but I think that's about it, and I think we just have 2 more days till we get that big match.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Griffin up against Gen G on my birthday. Should be a lot of fun. We'll see you then on Friday.